Alright guys, my camera didn't record any audio, so we're going to do this with the voiceover. What we have here is the old hood off my Buick parts car. I drew on here some dimensions of what I'm going to cut out. What we're doing is 2 cylinder heads, tubs. So right here you'll see the actual design that I drew, the measurements, and what we're going to do. So, first thing we're going to do is get it cutting. I like to start with the vertical lines first. You can see why I decided to use the hood instead of selling it. It was kind of wrecked on the front anyways. So here you can see I'm changing my face mask for a respirator. As I was cutting through, I was hitting some of that glue and it just wasn't smelling very safe, so went on for the respirator mask. And continue cutting. So all my vertical lines are cut here. It's the last one. And instead of cutting horizontally, I'm just going to rotate the hood and keep cutting vertically. By using this hood for these tubs, it really didn't cost me anything to make them kind of free, which I kind of like. So after we get it all cut out, I'm just kind of catching all the corners, making sure they're all released. Then I just grab a pry bar and just start prying it off the glue. And there we go, they're both released. And then we're going to go to the next step. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is grab the flap disc, flap wheel, whatever you want to call it. And we're going to, well, first we're going to be stupid and try to remove the glue. As you can tell, I gave up real quick with that, and we just go straight to cutting the edges, the corners, cleaning them up so they're not so sharp and flaky. So we'll do this for a few minutes. You want to make sure you get both sides, make sure that the edges aren't sharp. Last thing you want is to cut yourself. Something we can prevent. A few minutes don't hurt to spend on that. So now we're going to remove the glue off the back, and what I found worked really well was just a putty knife and a hammer. It just comes right off, a few taps. Don't mind the old man pose here, needing something to put my knee on. So we're just gonna tap that along and pull them all out. Then we get into the real old man pose where we're just sitting on the ground. And now we'll use the flap wheel to just remove what's left. Not too much left. It was Went through those pretty quick and easy. And then we go to bending. So I grab my old Harbor Freight bender, and as you can tell, it won't fit all the way across with the edges as long as they are. So first thing we're going to do is bend one of the small end pieces. So the smaller pieces like that bend pretty easy, and these longer ones with that thicker metal on this bender don't do too well. So right now, oh yeah, keyboard warriors, why didn't you turn it around? So the reason I didn't turn it around here is because I didn't want all that extra sheet metal in my way as I'm trying to bend it. It's already hard enough to try to bend it with that big a piece, the 21 inches. You can see we're having to get into it, and at the same time I'm trying to hold down the bar because it does flex a lot because I don't have any clamps on the middle of it. So bending that down and clamping it is minimal. These pieces aren't prize pieces. They're not going to be in any show. Their literal purpose is just to hold fluids while whatever's in it's soaking. And as you'll see, bends right out pretty good, pretty easy. Now on this one, of course, I'm going to pull it out or have the tub out as far as I can on my way, because it bends that shorter piece much easier than it does the longer piece. So here we're just tapping the ends, making it more square, and now everything kind of lines up. And welding. So I welded the outside edges one tack at a time, and we also welded the inside edges. And then here I painted them all with my Pour 15. Right now I have about 2 coats on the inside. I grinded all the outside edges, and this will help seal it at the same time as cleaning it up and putting a coat on it. So I wanted to get the inside done. This Pour 15 I had left over from a project I did on my van when we did a pipe bumper custom fit, and I made a spare tire swing out holder. We'll put some pictures of it up here. That was a fun project. Oh, and the old John Deere, that was a fun project too. But yeah, I couldn't get that lid open. It took everything. As you can tell, it pretty much destroyed the can. So on top of doing the corners, painting the corners with this stuff, I ended up painting the whole thing inside and outside because I still had about a quarter of a can left, and it was just going to get wasted. So and truth be told, the inside corners probably got 6 or 7 coats on it. They're coated pretty heavily. So my plan was to weld nuts on the bottom, so when I had a cylinder head on there, it would have something to sit on. I forgot to weld them, and this is me thinking I can keep my hands clean and put a cylinder head in here. Yeah, that didn't work out. It just caused me more trouble and more headache. But as you can tell, the cylinder head fits in there nice. This is a obviously a Chevy cylinder head. But it fits in there just as I wanted, really tight. Not a lot of room around it, and that's mainly because, well, I'm cheap. I wanted a container where I could put in, 1 gallon of product instead of having to buy 6 gallons of them or however much, depending on how big the container was. So it's got nice and tight in there. So there shouldn't be any waste of material or product, rather. Overall, I'm pretty happy with how they turned out. And you can also fit other products in here besides just cylinder heads. I have a bunch of other carburetors sitting down in a box, so I figured I'd see if that would work, and lo and behold, look at the Edelbrock. Fits in beautifully, and you can even put the top in with it right next to it. Do some good cleaning. I didn't check if my Quadrajet fit or if the Holley fit, but I imagine the Holley will fit. It come pretty apart. Edelbrock or the Quadrajet should fit also, but I like that I can put this in here and put them side by side, get everything cleaned kind of at the same time. So that's this project. And like I said, I did sand them down and paint them all with that POR 15, and that's our start. That's our finish. If you liked the video, hit the like button and subscribe and follow along. Thank you.